Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome on in to the Clusterfuck Podcast, part of the MHRT Network here at Center Ice. I am Nick. Join me here shortly is Brit. Snowstorm is kind of giving her some technical challenges, but she is here. She will be joining us shortly. So hang tight so the life of the party could actually get here. Before we begin, we just want to remind everyone to like and subscribe and follow the MHRT Network so they can get notified when shows like the Clusterfuck Podcast go live. You can follow them on the various social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Let's see what else. Threads. I mean, there's a bunch. So go ahead and follow the MHRT Network so you can get notified when all the shows go live. You can also follow us specifically at Clusterfuck Avs on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, and then the Clusterfuck Podcast on Facebook. Okay, so we got a little bit of housekeeping items to touch up first, and then we'll get into some really, I don't want to necessarily say exciting news, but it is in the realm of Avalanche. It's a step in the right direction type of news. So first things first, let's kind of go over the week that had, I suppose, happened. So we talked last week about the very challenging, effectively, schedule that the Avalanche were going to face, in that they had 3 games. Florida, these are all home games, Florida, Boston, and Vegas. They win 2 out of the 3 games, which is, it's an admirable result. I mean, having any wins, you at least got something. But these were all measuring stick games for sure. They were all top 10 in the league, still are, if I'm not mistaken. And the first game, Florida, it wasn't a good game. I guess let's put it that way. It was an odd game, I think, is to say the least. So you lose the game, and when I say you, I mean the Avalanche lose the game 8-4 in the most odd. There she is. How you doing?
Good. My computer just decided to restart like 5 times in a row. Apparently, it needed to update everything. So
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. So we're just talking about the week that happened. We're talking about Florida. The 8-4 loss that was Florida. I don't know what to say other than you played really bad for 2 periods and good for 1. And yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. Well, I've fought with myself mentally about how I feel on that game, whether you should be super depressed about it or kind of take away some good things. I think in the end I come away with good stuff because, I mean, the resiliency is something that's, you just can't, you can't do that on accident. You know what I mean? That kind of comeback is incredible, especially against a team like Florida. That's I mean, there's a good chance that they'll be well on their way to a Stanley Cup final too. So, I mean, I'm not as mad as I was 10 minutes after the game. I definitely felt differently the next day when I leveled my head a little bit, but it definitely did not feel. When after the third goal, I was just I was working and I was I can't even listen to the rest of this because it's going to ruin my life. It's so infuriating.
You're right. You're totally right. So in the game, Sam Reinhart nets a hat trick. I think they said it was the 7th or so of his career, something around that. Go figure, right? But first period, it was all Panthers. They're up 3-0 by the end of the first, and you're thinking this game has gone south. It's over before it even began.
Yeah, statistically, it's going to be 20-0 by the end of the game. It could have been horrific.
Exactly. And then within the first minute of play, I mean, they were really quick goals. About 40 seconds in, somewhere around 20 seconds in, Cale Makar and then Josh Manson shortly after score 2 quick goals, and all of a sudden you're down 3-2.
Yeah.
Valnichushkin, a couple minutes later, ties the game, right?
It was
and
wild.
Then,
it was seriously, what the heck? What just happened? Where did this come from?
No, totally. Bizarre. And we've seen the Avalanche come out of these types of deficits for, and clearly they showed that type of resiliency that you were saying. But it was the question that I had at that point when they tied the game is, where was this in the first period?
Right. It's almost like
Right?
you could do that from the first minute of the game and then just play consistently good instead of having to play 3 minutes of miraculously awesome, which we finally did get a little puck luck. Bobrovsky fell on his own stick after his team. I mean, we have had a lot of games where we just haven't been getting that kind of puck luck. We are still maintaining our king of the post status. Like, I think Randon hits more posts. Cale Makar hits posts that you can hear from the media. Like, it's so crazy how loud the tings are from his post hits, which people get mad about that. But when you think about the space that these guys have to shoot on and like the small level, like margin of error that they have, it's not that surprising that they hit posts because it's just a half inch away from being in or not even hitting the net at all. So, but it was about time that we get a little, and it's not even puck luck, but he fell on his ass really hard. It looked like it probably hurt.
It probably did. And honestly, I mean, you got to take him how you got to take him, I suppose. But following a quick goal from Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who, let's be honest, we kind of all forgot signed with the Panthers this offseason, but good for him nonetheless. And this might answer Allie's question, they switch Prosvetov for Georgiev. The intent that night was to play Prosvetov. And honestly, based off of the result, they might as well have kept going, giving Georgiev the full game.
That's what I'm curious. So what's your take on that? Which at what point do we just say, you know what, you got to just suffer a little, because Georgie had played 8 games up until that point, 7 or 8.
Something that he didn't necessarily need to. I would agree. Yeah, and that's the thing is at the time, right? Because this is all in-game decisions, right? You're only down by 1 at the time, so maybe Bednar was thinking, switch it up, get our guy back in net. We can win this game, right? Going into the third period down 1 goal, right? And that's not that. You can come back from a goal. That's not that difficult.
So do you think it was worth bringing him back in? Or I suppose in hindsight, you're like, well, we should have just left him in.
No. In hindsight, you should have just left him in, see how he fared a full game against a really, really good Florida Panthers team.
Right. Especially because we need to know if we need to pick up a backup or not, because it is definitely a real concern at this point.
At this point, yes, because nothing against Prosvetov. He's shown he can compete just fine to the lower echelon of teams.
Right. But when you consider we used Francouz for the entire Oilers series, I mean,
that's the drawback, and you're exactly right.
To think
Francouz was defined. He knew exactly his role, but he played it to perfection, right?
Never knew that you could miss a backup goalie so dearly. Like, oh my god! So, could you imagine if we had Francouz just regularly filling in, and these guys rocking, 2/3, 1/3?
Exactly, and we would be none the impartial, I suppose. But yeah, retrospect, you might as well have played him the whole game to see how he would have fared if the score would have continued to have been 8-4. However, it was 4-4. Drouin did tie the game at 4 apiece, and then the whole third period after that goal just crumbled in a massive way. 4 goals: Reinhardt, Stenlund, Kachuk, then Verhaeghe with an empty netter.
Which the 8-4 is like not a great 6-4. I mean, they had 2 empty netters, which like, bleh. But so 8-4 feels a lot worse than it actually was. But it was a really painful way to lose after you were disgusted, and then you had this sudden hope, and then like straight back to just disgusted. And especially when Georgiev comes out from when he's supposed to be resting and immediately takes a kneecap to the head really, really hard. I was kind of surprised to see he wasn't pulled for concussion spotting. Like, that was really hard. He goes for just this boss ass poke check, which I love
He
like
got
a real wild poke save.
yeah, he did
And
get it.
yeah, usually those are nice because you don't have to work that hard. But when you go then it was like the whole shin, knee to the skull.
Yeah,
And he
it was
definitely
that
looked
whole
a little
leg
rattled.
area.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
really surprised that I was dreading the next few days to hear that he's out with something. Thank God.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's the type that would even like admit it if he was hurting. I think he's kind of a bizarre fellow. He's definitely been struggling like mentally a little bit with the breaking of the sticks, and Bednar even kind of addressed that and said that he's been showing too much emotion. Breaking sticks, and there was the one time he like swung a stick, and didn't he like hit Malinsky in the face or something like that, swinging a stick out of anger?
Something around that. And we've addressed this a couple times where he is his own biggest critic.
Yeah.
You know, nobody
There's a
else
healthy amount of
has,
emotion.
you know, he's the first to like 20 wins for a goalie. He's the first for this. He got, you know, he's now a couple shutouts. I mean, he's doing fine. He's gonna have some games.
He's making the hard saves and giving up the easy stuff. Is so weird.
Which it is extremely bizarre. I would absolutely agree. But at the same time, he's doing just fine. You know, the Avs are doing fine. And he didn't seem aware in the ensuing games that were both wins great enough. So we dismiss the Panthers game. It's one of those, just get it out of the way. It's done. You know, you move on. And move on they did. Playing an even better Boston Bruins team, winning the game in a shootout. I guess I'll be the first one to say this game, even though on the ice, tit for tat was a really great game, it was frustrating because that ice, it was like half melted, I swear. Players tripping all over the place. Passes not making it. Stick handling's berserk. It just the whole game. I'm
like
sitting there
in the NHL right now lately. Like
just
really bad ice.
People just fly. I'm not, and this is on both teams, right? Just both teams had bad passes. Both teams couldn't figure themselves out. The puck was like
how many times have we seen like Makar or Gerard have a puck literally jump over their stick when it's flat on the ice heading to it, that have like things that have resulted directly into goals. Like it's just weird. You would think that like as an NHL ice arena that the ice would be perfectly ice, like super, super cold, super smooth and fast, but it's just not. And it's not reliable at all, it seems.
No, you're totally right. And that's it has, I shouldn't say started to grow more apparent, but this game it was glaringly obvious something was not right with the ice that particular night. But either way, the teams are tied 3-3. Again, just some of them fluky goals, some of them really, really well done goals. You know, super back and forth, just a good old fashioned hockey game. You know, it was really fun because it was so neck and neck, two really good teams duking it out. Logan O'Connor's goal I thought was fantastic, where he made two of the Bruins run into each other in their own defensive zone. He just kind of says, "I'll take that, thank you," and tops it.
Needing to make an award for like the grindiest player. I mean, you just like no, there's not enough like good things to say about someone that isn't recognized as an all-star. And it's just like he's never going to be an all-star, but really a guy like him is just as valuable as anyone on any given day.
Yeah, his effort is world class. I mean, if you look for people that like give it 100% every shift that they have, Logan O'Connor is like the first guy that comes to mind.
Yeah, and then he's just like a good soul too. He's always there doing the interviews, giving thoughtful responses, and like that tells you so much about a guy. Like, have you ever seen Val Nichushkin do an interview? Like, apparently he like won't make contact with the media and like sprint out there and like you can tell who does not want to be there and is there because they're expected to be there. And then there's the guys that choose not to. But then you've got Logan O'Connor. I mean, I swear to God, they interview Logan O'Connor. It was always O'Connor and Newhook. And now we're seeing quite a bit of Malinsky. Like you can tell Malinsky's got a lot of that like sweet, hardworking, you know, just happy to be here kind of guy attitude. And I just think there's a lot to be appreciated by people like that.
It really is. And you speak of Sam Malinsky. That guy has got the most just rocket of a slap shot It
He's
goes
like
by so
an unrefined
fast.
Cale Makar, honestly. He's just
That's
really has a
amazing.
lot of Cale Makar in him. It's
He and I will even say to an extent, Seth Jones have made it extremely difficult for them to be sent back down. Mostly
really,
Malinsky, I
really
will
hard
say,
to,
but
yeah,
Seth Jones, same thing. He's giving a great effort, and it's just making both of them really difficult to send back down if the team ever gets back to being healthy. Freddie Olafson, same deal. I mean, yeah, he's got a few goals on the season, but his passing, his awareness, all these kids that we're thinking, yeah, they're just there for the few
we didn't have
games.
last year.
Yeah, they're trustworthy. That's the perfect way to put it. They're just their performance on like the fourth line, Cogliano, same thing. It's nice to see that we have,
like, what was that in the Vegas game too? I just don't understand.
everyone wants to kill them. I don't know. It's just the weirdest thing.
I wish I knew what kind of awful things he was saying and doing out there, because clearly he's an awful, awful person. Like, I don't know. But either way, thanks to that Sam Malinsky goal, we do go into overtime. Nothing happens there. We do go into shootouts, and Georgiev plays Stonewall again. And at the very last shot, found the chicken ends it. In the NHL, right? I mean,
what's that?
How many goals has he let in all of this? I had meant to look up his shootout statistics. He's got to be one of the top shootout goaltenders in the NHL, statistically.
Probably.
I mean, he is incredible with shootouts.
No, probably. I totally agree. It's because it's like you have to look. So Jake DeBrusk, Charlie Coyle, and David Pastrnak, who are three very, very talented shootout people, let alone breakaway shootout people.
Yeah.
And he stops all of them. I think the other, let's see, saved by Georgiev. Coyle's was wide, but the other one, Pasternak's, was also saved.
And okay, so the thing is, and I just want to point this out, this is coming from like deep goalie thoughts, is when you watch that Pastrnak shootout shot, it looks absurd. It looks absolutely ridiculous. It looks mindless. But the thing is, it's
bored.
Deeply strategic. And it's supposed to be a type of shot, because you've seen him. He's scored that exact same goal, just looking like a dumbass who doesn't give a shit. But the thing is, what he's doing is he's lacking body language. He's not showing off the intensity, so that you don't see any changes in his body language, his intensity, his movements, his eyes, he's not giving off, because these goalies are not making saves by seeing the puck and moving to it. They're set where they're going to be by literally like arm movements way before the puck even comes off the stick. It's all body language. So him shooting it not like nonchalantly like that, and you know that they probably watch a little bit of video on shootouts, like each of the best shootout, you know that he's watching that stuff. And Pastrnak generally shoots high. He's generally looking for that top shot, and he shot that on the ground 5-hole. And Georgie making that save is such an elite, underappreciated save, because it seems if you weren't really keen on Pasternak's groove, it looks like he just took a shot like a pouty baby, but it was really strategic, and that makes it a real, like, honestly, the most impressive shootout save that Georgie has made, because no one knew or expected it to go there, and stopping that and reading that is like next level shootout save. It's just a weird thing that I just don't think people really appreciated it nearly enough. And I just love how much of a dumbass he looks out of context just watching him take that.
I know, he just because in the game itself, for just, I guess, the untrained eye,
it looks absurd.
He just looks like he didn't care. He looks like he was just like, I don't want to be here, and so he just kind of lazily looks like, shoots the puck. But you're exactly right. It's the lack of body language.
Yeah,
like you stated, that makes it difficult to read.
Like the slow motion, like those are the things that are honestly harder sometimes than those guys come in full blast like Nathan MacKinnon, where it's a smooth flow and you can follow it. Like it's like a mutual transaction with the movement forwards and backwards, because you'll see them come out and they follow them in, and the slower it is, the weirder it gets. I always tell people it's harder for goalies to play down. Like sending people down to the AHL to find their goalie game is not something that you'll find a lot of success in, because it's harder to go slower and sloppier. And that's exactly what a lot of these really successful shootout guys do. Short of like mad dangles, usually it's the guys with the weird slow motion, just the odd stuff. So Georgie, all that to say, he is the shootout king. If we could just go through the playoffs like doing nothing but shootouts, we would certainly win that one. Shape. But yeah. But he did have a good game. It's bizarre that even with these good wins and the decent games that he's had, and he has had some wicked saves, still rocking a sub 900 save average, but really you just have to save one more than the other guy. Like, and that's what he's, it's what he's done.
A win comes in various ways. So,
and I'm a firm believer that we're going to have to get used to seeing save averages below 900, and we're really going to have to start looking more at like the save expected, that kind of stuff, a lot heavier, because the goalies' bodies and like the human anatomy cannot adjust to account for the insane advances in shooting and stick technology. And these goalies just simply can't. There's no way for us to get better. You know what I mean? We only have so much that we can do as a goalie compared to what. So I just really think that people who are going so hard on this still below 900, it's just not relevant at this point. If we win the game, then it's just like, don't bitch. You know what I mean? Once we've won the game and we didn't have to score 9 goals, I just really don't think we need to be throwing a fit.
Well, and one thing to keep in mind is a lot of times we look at the percentage, that save percentage, like you were saying, if it's below 0.9, whatever, 900, what we call it, right? Then he's letting in more goals than usual, blah, blah. Well, you also have to remember, if you save 1 of 3, your save percentage is 30, or sorry, if you let in 1 of 3, your save percentage is 66, right? So the Avalanche, they don't let many shots past, right? So if it's 20 shots and you let out 1, it's different than 30 shots and you let in 1, right? So that kind of tells more for a defensive standpoint than anything, wouldn't you think?
Right, especially because we give quite a few high danger chances with less chances lacking in quality. And Georgie also does have really good rebound control. So most of the shots he's taking are coming from breakaways, 2-on-1s. He's not getting like gimme breakaway, like rebound, you know what I mean? Multiple shots on one, just because he's putting it back out there to stop it again. So it's really important. If you are really into goalies, go explore. Like the hockey guys got some really good explanations on like save expected, like the high danger chances, how that all, there's like medium, low, high danger chances. And they really have very, very advanced ways of assessing goaltenders by the quality of shots that they've taken. It's really interesting to me. So if you're really lame and you enjoy that, I would definitely suggest the hockey guy. He's got a great breakdown on scores and stuff too. It's very interesting. I love like the deeper analytics. I wish I was smarter or just had more time to really get in it, but it's amazing the stuff that they can track now. It really is amazing.
It really is. I 100% agree. But speaking of Georgiev, let's move on to that Vegas game, because we post a 3-0 win. Georgiev gets his second shutout of the season. And that game, there's not a lot to say. I mean, you don't let any goals in. You win 3. You beat the Stanley Cup champions.
If there was a get right game for him to make everybody shut the hell up about him on Twitter, then this was the game to do it. And that's exactly what he did. He needed the ego boost so bad. And I feel like I know I'm talking too much about the goalie, but that really has been like the resounding issue over and over again with our losses and wins. And I hate it because it becomes cyclical and too easy to blame the goalies over and over. He needed this and we needed this. It's just the mental get right. And I think that's all it is. I think he's every bit as capable as every other goalie in this league, just like really most of them are. Almost all of them are capable of being just as good as anyone else for the most part, if they have the right team in front of them. And we just got to get him right, because he's definitely been out of his head lately. So how could you not leave that game feeling just sexy as heck? I mean, he did.
Oh yeah, man.
It all. And that's for everyone.
Yeah, and that, like Nichushkin almost getting a hat trick. I mean, got 2 of the 3
Oh my
goals.
God.
Logan O'Connor, with thanks to a
That
wayward stick, got
Rantanen
one
drop pass in the crease was
between the legs. One,
oh my
it was
God. I'm
beautiful.
literally getting goosebumps from it.
The
Rantanen,
awareness. Oh
and that's not even the first time. I literally have
no,
goosebumps on my face. Rantanen has got to be. I mean, I would argue gladly that he is possibly the most elite passer in, and not elite as in making good passes, but just that eye to make those passes, those through the crease passes, that he's had a couple of those that are just like, he's looking the other way, his body's facing another direction, his stick is upside down, and he's
but
still,
the
oh my God.
puck goes that way.
I'm trying to think of, there was another drop pass that he had last year that was.
It was in the Boston game, if I'm not mistaken.
Was
where
it?
he had one
Just
very similar to where he was pinned against the boards behind the cage and just kind of does a little scoop pass. You know,
Who did that go?
amazing.
Was that to Helm? Was that like a weird one last year that he had a drop pass to Helm? I'll have to find it. But
Comfort had a really good one in the Stanley Cup winning season. I remember that one, but I can't remember for Rantanen.
I'm trying to think. I'll have to find it later. But for my money, Rantanen is the most elite in the league, better than Mac, better than Draisaitl. Like, I don't care, than anyone at seeing those passes and making just absolutely incredible passes, especially when he's just doesn't seem to be such a, like, I don't even know what an appropriate term is, like a deep thinker like that, but he's not, he doesn't come across all the time as high IQ, but my God, those passes are just, we couldn't even think of them even if we saw them happen and then try to do it again. I mean, it's unreal. I just can't even gush enough about it. I know it's ridiculous, but that is
straight up.
Oh my God.
Straight up. So the Avalanche stayed away with that one. Sorry, go ahead. What was that?
And then we'll still find things to bitch about him because it's just too easy. Like, because then he'll look like he doesn't care 5 minutes later. It's just ridiculous.
Well, it just means we care, right? It just means we care. We do care. So the Avalanche stayed away with that one, 3-0. Shutout for a shutout. Poetic justice. What can I say?
3 shutouts have been against Vegas. Like, what is that?
Isn't it bizarre? Isn't it?
But
bizarre?
It seems like he shows up when it matters the most, which is a good omen for trying to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay, so Ryan Clemens here has a question, a few of them actually. So do you think it's the 2C need to, do you think we need a 2C to address it if Landy does have the chance to come back? Trade deadline is only a couple months away. So actually we're going to get right into that because today, and we'll talk about Landeskog real fast and then we'll think about the 2C. Today, there's a planned date apparently. Landeskog is seen spotted on the ice skating around for the first time since his surgery, like as far like actual participating, doing skill moves slowly. Now keep in mind they weren't going full blast, but very slowly Landeskog was there. And
and you have to imagine
whole body went
prior to this, before anybody saw him, he's had to have done like a lot of like just strength stuff before he let the public, like the media, see him skating. So that tells me that it's been going really good. And now it must be like really, really good because he's comfortable getting out. You know what I mean? He's not going to get out there and like struggle or find out that it's not going to go good. So like the whole state of Colorado must have just been like vibrating with people just like squealing over this.
Oh, I was a squealer. Guilty. I will be the first to admit.
Because we all kind of finally accepted that he might just be done for good. And last year we hung on. And I think we finally all said, you know, might be it. People are talking about where does the C go? Who's going to take the C? When are they going to give it away? Who's the leader? And it's like, no, you know, there's a reason that they haven't even considered. I mean, I don't think that it's even been on their minds for even a moment that Landy wasn't their captain still. So it, like actually makes my insides tingle to actually think that now it feels real again, but I'm trying. I don't want to back it almost looks before the playoffs begin. And it seems like it's the perfect trajectory for him to practice and practice, maybe have a little setback, and then be ready right when that first puck drops in the first game of this.
And that was actually going to be that question that I was going to have is just part of Ryan's question here is that, if Landy has the chance to come back. So that is the question is let's say you play GM for this scenario, and let's say he's maybe ready to come back second round-ish of the playoffs. Do you still play him, or do you let him rest all the way until the ensuing season?
No. I mean, I don't think you would have to get him in for something. Even if he comes in and Stamkoses it and scores 1 goal, something, even if it just gets in there for a little bit of time. I don't even know how protected that could be or would be, but I just don't think that if he was a functioning hockey player that we could stand letting him,
possibly
like will he scratch him or something, or I don't know, or just keeping him out.
I see where you're coming from too, because there's always that chance, because if you make a deep playoff run, that's just extra time that Landeskog had to recuperate to maybe even play. I, however, to be the negative voice of reason in this,
oh no,
I just am too worried that anything is too soon if it's not next season. Because if it's next season, that's an additional 3 months of rest and recuperation and building the muscles again, building that cartilage to work properly. Again, if he's completely cleared and nothing comes of it, great. I mean, I'd love to see him as early as possible, but it's just the worry, because I want him to play. I want him to have that careir. And if that means I'd sacrificing some series, I would take that risk. But again, I'm playing the overprotective mother in this type of situation, right? Where you don't want to make sure everything is right.
Well, I don't know how healed it can get. I just don't. I mean, they literally.
It's a very bizarre surgery.
Yeah, it's just not something that any of us we have no anecdotal
exactly.
They literally didn't they? It was like a transplant of a knee tendon or something like that.
Yeah,
so
they transplanted basically the cartilage surrounding the knee and made that work with the kneecap. Something very I know Alonzo Ball from
and then there was
Chicago Bulls had that same surgery.
But they also did it 10 years ago, because I know everybody, Mark, he was really kind of discouraging in it all, but his was at the very beginning of this, and I don't think that he was quite the athlete that Landeskog is and was. Landeskog is literally premier human, top of the line, anatomy, genes, everything. But I'd just be curious to know if once it's healed, is it healed? And then is it just, that he's doing everything to maintain muscles in every way that just doesn't stress that. But I don't know if you can heal it more or better, how if you give more time, if that's even better, or I just am curious, it's also getting him on the bench, even if we limit his minutes greatly. I just do think that presence is important. I think we've seen
I totally agree.
Really valuable, but it is also hard to waste a roster spot on the bench, when Bednar is, I don't know. I'm even sick of having McDermott out there only playing 3 minutes. So we only have
got a goal though against Vegas. He was this close. Oh, it was this close. Anyways, but that does leave the question about that 2C spot. Now, keep in mind though, Arturi Lehkonen is back.
Yes, and that's what,
because he's been skating in non-contact.
Yeah, I think that they're playing the market hard. The way I see it is they're probably playing the market hard. They're weighing another strong defenseman, another 2C, or a solid ass backup tandem. And what I'd imagine they'll do is they'll weigh all of their options and take whichever one is the best out of the 3 holes that need to be filled, because all 3, you know what I mean? And I know everybody's really high on Lindholm, but I just feel I genuinely believe that if we think it's out there publicly, that it's not going to happen. I just genuinely don't.
That's probably the most likely scenario.
Yeah, and that's what I think. Even if we don't,
we just get Nazem Kadri right back.
I said it. It's either give me
I'd love it.
Crosby, give me Varley. That's what I'm still until the deadline, the last minute passes. I'm still going to be saying I want Varley and I want Crosby or I want Duff. I mean, I just
give me Sid the Kid.
I mean, is Varlamov?
I fully support your passion. What's that?
Is attaining Varlamov really is that outlandish? I mean, I know he's old, but
no,
because
I think Sorokin has taken those reins for the starting goaltender.
Yeah.
However, it would the Islanders. I don't know if you knew this before, but the Islanders traded Devon Taves to the Colorado Avalanche. Did you know that? I don't think it's been said every freaking broadcast, a national broadcast. So they might be a little more butthurt about the last trade that we did with them.
Yeah, but I just don't think that Varley is nearly as valuable to anybody as he. I mean, we know that when he's hot, and when he's cold, he is cold. But could you imagine the fire that would be lit under his ass to come back with? I mean, at this point, Mac, Gabe, did he even play
back together?
But I mean, could you imagine if he got hot? We know that he could single-handedly steal a whole entire series and score the whole damn goals himself too when he's feeling good. And just the thought of that, doing that for him, because nobody talks about him enough and what he went through and how absolutely incredible he was when we sucked so bad. Yeah. It's not fair that timing didn't align for him to be with us through the Stanley Cup years. It's really, really sad to me, but I don't see us going out and getting a big name 2C. And I really think that they're not going to do anything till we see how Lehkonen slots back in. Clearly Johansson, it just isn't a fit. Honestly, I think he would be great in Chicago, somewhere slow, a little bit slower, somewhere that I think that he came into this thinking that he would enjoy being not the leader, not the guy. And I think that he's kind of turned into a little bit of a toxin. Maybe he can't handle that. But it would be good for him to go somewhere with a different system than ours. It's so blaringly obvious that he does not fit in with the system, speed-wise, mentally. If we were to bring someone in, we would probably have to find a way to send him out. Some kind of trade, hopefully to somewhere with value, that they can value him a little bit more, and let people slot up. Or, it just kind of depends on how things go after Lehkonen is back.
No, I totally agree.
And it needs to be addressed, but we're also going to see people change a little bit over the next few weeks and fit in their roles differently, I think.
Yep. And that's kind of what Bednar has been doing. He's been moving these pieces around, and Johansson has found himself down there on those third lines. But I think it's becoming tougher for me to continually defend Ryan Johansson, because that's my first instinct that I want to do, right? And it becomes more and more tough. But at the same time, should everyone be right back to how it is, Landeskog, Nichushkin, Lehkonen, those are your options. And honestly, if it's Nichushkin, you're in great shape.
And for as much as Johansson is shit the bed, I feel like we've gotten a better return out of Drouin to where it just doesn't feel that bad, because Drouin
even Drouin could be a great fit. He's been on top of the world right now. So I think have
such elite wingers that we really might be able to get away, with not having a Kadri elite level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I'm really curious to see. I've just really stopped speculating. I can say with certainty that we will not be acquiring Trevor Zegras, as he broke his ankle, they've said. Did I lose you?
Oh, sorry. My computer's kind of it slowed down for a second. So you probably finished talking, but yeah, sorry.
I thought that was mine. No, I think that was mine. But I was just saying we're not going to be getting Trevor Zegras is all. He does have a broken ankle after just a weird little fall. So no Trevor Zegras.
No Trevor Zegras. So you can kiss that idea goodbye. But yes, I think with time, I think it's probably just wait to see what Lehkonen does first, and then probably address it at that point. I'm sure a move is going to be made because the Avalanche's window is now, right? So it's going to just to answer Ryan's question that he had.
If we're going to maybe go
one of those wait and see, almost there type moments. I'm sure it'll happen, but we just need to know what's happening once we have a more complete team with Lehkonen coming back.
And I would say at this point, mentally prepare yourself to possibly lose Bo Byram because it does seem that he's kind of at this point going to be the expendable one. And I'm curious at how much we will baby him. Kind of sucks that his stock is, but I would be prepared to. Internet, please. I don't know if it's mine. I asked Michael to take some stuff off of my internet connection because I don't know if it's me or you, but I'm sorry if I keep interrupting.
No, it might be me. We're in the middle of a snowstorm too, so it could totally be me. So real quick, let's kind of
our second blizzard.
Oh, really? Yeah, we just had our first today, and it's kind of gonna be a continual one into next week, so it's gonna be great. Anyways, so real quick then, just for a fun little touch-up item. So the Avalanche have been continually breaking some records over the last few games, which has been super, super great.
Oh my God, every game.
It's been amazing. And so a few things to note as far as notable Avalanche records being continually pursued. Nathan MacKinnon as the third, or tied for the third, longest home point streak from the start of a season in NHL history. He's only behind Bobby Orr by 2 games and then Wayne Gretzky by a crap ton. So I don't know if that's attainable, but he could very much, if he just get two more home game points, he's there, second place behind Wayne Gretzky himself. Which is just amazing. You know, you can't say enough about Nathan MacKinnon.
No, and that's what I feel guilty that it's almost feeling redundant to just keep. I mean, he's still, in case we haven't made this clear enough, he is still out of his mind. He is the whole league. I mean, he is truly at the top of the Hart. He is out of his. He is the best hockey player in the world right now. Granted, at any other given time, Connor McDavid may be just probably better, but McKinnon is the best hockey player in the world, and he is just possessed. It's insane what he's doing right now.
It really
I don't know if it's me freezing or you.
No, you're good. I'm just a little delayed now. So another record that we need to keep in mind, this is a franchise record, is Val Nichushkin. For most power play goals through 40 games played, he ended up going, and this is in Avalanche history. Now, this is not counting Nordiques. He's only second behind Joe Sakic by 2. So Nichushkin had 13 and Joe Sakic had 15. And then the rest of them, between them, there's like Michael Goulet, Stastny, all that kind of good stuff. But again, Nichushkin's having a fantastic season. I can't say enough about him either.
Career year by far. He is just out of his mind. It's something that I really whined and moaned about was what we're missing in Landeskog in that net front presence. And Nuke has just feasted on the garbage. I mean, it's so incredible that he has found such a niche in tracking that puck in front of the net, and those passes that he hits, people can make those arguments that he's playing with good players, but it's like little bunts and stuff that he's getting and then at the angles, and he is out of his mind, and he's definitely earning the love back in justifying that contract that a lot of people weren't terribly thrilled with. Is a little long, a little high, but it's hard to argue with it at this point.
It really is. I totally agree. He's fulfilling the price that they put on him, and I think he's kind of now put that responsibility on his shoulders, which is a nice assurance, I guess you could say, to know that this is kind of now, I don't want to say the bar or the expectation, but this is a production that you can get from him for that duration of the contract. So super great to see Nichushkin making this type of history.
Stanley Cup final to get. My dog really needs attention right now. I'm not sure why.
Totally good. Totally good. So the last one real fast, with Georgiev's shutout, he recorded his 15th career shutout and his 7th with the Avalanche, which means he ties Craig Anderson, of all people, for 6th place in Avalanche/Nordiques history. Again, we've talked about him a million times in this episode, but stats show, right? They show some things and they don't show some things, but this one it's kind of a prove it type of stat where he has shown he can do those types of things. So really good on him for achieving 6th place.
Getting a shutout is so hard for NHL goalies. Yeah, I mean, even if you only get 10 shots, a shutout is still generally unattainable. Usually you're just going to let one in. One of them has got to find their way in, because if you're not getting a lot of shots, you fall asleep and you let a goal in, or if you're getting, a ton of shots. But I just, I just still have a lot of faith in him. I know a lot of people don't, but I really think he's going to be just fine not playing so well in the more that he's a guy that really shows up when it's really important. So we haven't seen him not do it yet. Like that first Rangers shootout win, that was such a boss game from him. And I just think that that's kind of how he operates. I think he needs that kind of pressure. And I also think that a better backup goalie behind him might push him a little more to feel some heat. You know what I mean? It's good to have somebody behind you that makes you feel like you could be at risk. Because Lord knows, even if we wanted to, we couldn't bench Georgie, even if we wanted to, desperately wanted to. We simply could not.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, players making history, it's always great to have. I mean, again, you can't discredit anything that these guys are achieving, even though, it seemed like we were going almost roller coaster for a little bit. So again, great stuff. So, okay, really quick then, I guess let's move into the last little portion of the episode, and we'll just talk about the upcoming games. So the Avalanche in the season have their 3 longest road trips coming up. There's a 5-game, which is this one, a 6-game, and a 4-game. So going to be a lot of fun stints happening away from Denver. This particular week, the 3 that we're going to cover are the Avalanche at Toronto, playing the Maple Leafs, the Avalanche at Canadiens, and then the Avalanche at Senators. So in these 3 particular games, Senators and Canadiens, it should just be one of those take care of business, walk away, everything's great type of games, right? I do have a couple keys to it, but yes. The Maple Leafs game, though, is the one that I want to address probably the longest, so to speak. Now, Toronto, as it sits right now, let me get that standings right back up. They are sitting just around the top 10. They're right behind you in points, kind of. Well, not kind of. We're about 7 points ahead. But they're a team that just they're going to make the playoffs, but you don't know if that's going to last as far as getting to a second round. They're probably going to go right back to, first round exit. That's at least the vibe I'm getting.
Well, and that's the thing is every upper team, they all have issues, all of them. There really is no team, that is free other than maybe Winnipeg, which WTF is with that.
No kidding.
I still am just having a really hard time wrapping my mind around Winnipeg and Vancouver possibly being the two strongest teams in the league right. But I don't know.
Yeah, I mean they're 1-2 right now, so could be fun if that ends up being your West Coast Conference matchup. But so back to Toronto. The only thing I am most concerned on in this instance is, believe it or not, the goaltending. There's a lot of offensive firepower on this team. Yeah, there's a lot of offensive firepower for this Maple Leafs team by the names of Matthews, Marner, Tavares. The list goes on. And it just seems like in the last couple of years, we have had a very, very tough time in Toronto to beat the Maple Leafs, right? They have just had our number for some reason or another, that we end up losing pretty heavily to them, right? So on stats, we're the better team.
Out of his mind this year, absolutely out of it.
Yes.
So
so on paper, like I said,
I think we can open it up on that too. I know. I'm sorry. I really think
no, it's fine. One of us is just delayed. That's all it is.
We could open it up. I don't think that sustainable. I don't consciously, but I would anticipate that at some point someone's going to be able to open it up and expose him, because I just don't think that, I don't think he's there. Like how he's been playing, I don't think that's who he is still. It's just a good ride for now. I'm not sure when Woll comes back, but I can't imagine he would be back by then. And they did just recall Samsonov, but I don't think that they would get. They're not going to play him out home. First of all, they don't want him to be brought back in front of their home crowd. Imagine we'll see Johnny.
Yeah, I'd agree. So with Toronto, I guess the like I said, with goaltending, that's my only concern. I'm not too, they play in a couple days, so they get a couple days rest. So I'm not too overly concerned with Georgiev being the starter for at least this game, and then maybe seeing if Prosvetov, if he still has that control with Montreal or Ottawa. One of those two, I know he's going to play, but it's just a matter of which one would be the fit that you want to set him in. And that kind of is the last segment that I wanted to get into, is what is the dynamic you're going to put as far as Georgiev
Montreal
versus
should be
Prosvetov.
I would like to see Prosvetov in against Montreal. I feel like Ottawa has a lot more to prove, because they're kind of where they're getting to a point where statistically they're not going to even be able to make the playoffs. And they had a lot of expectations this year. So they're kind of up against a wall right now. I think we'll see a lot harder play out of them and a lot more desperation from them.
Yeah.
Montreal just kind of is what they are what they are right now, and they really don't have a whole lot to play for. That going against us in that game, and I think Prosvetov, I think it would be a good game against Montreal. Give him kind of a gimme and see if is he broken.
Yeah.
Where are we going from here? Because that was kind of scary.
Yeah, So I think I would probably agree with you right on that. Is do the same thing that we did when we had Prosvetov, or excuse me, Georgiev play against Ottawa, because they have that often. They have good names as well, like you said. But with each of them pose their own different difficulties and obstacles to get over. However, let me make sure this was the final score. However, oh, hang on, I just had it pulled up. The Sharks did beat Montreal, just barely, right? So
Yeah.
Yay! First of all,
Still,
that's a big win, right? But that does go right to your point, that Montreal team doesn't stack up against lesser teams, I guess, to put it lightly. So I would agree with you in putting Prosvetov in against Montreal and then going right back to Georgiev, because they both need that type of practice, especially down the stretch when it's gonna come to where you're gonna need to have Georgiev for those must-win type of games. And if you're only in second place, as we currently sit right now, halfway through the season, you're gonna need Georgiev more and more. So I try to utilize Prosvetov, get Georgiev as much rest as possible, playing those lower echelon teams like I told you, and then seeing if Georgiev can then kind of run the distance for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So so that was the kind of the last piece of information, I guess, that I had. Britt, I don't know if you have anything else that you wanted to add.
So okay.
I am. I promise I'm here. It's just
one of them crazy.
In the future, the other's in the past.
I'm pretty excited. Sorry. I don't have anything left on the Avs. Pretty exciting. I don't know if you've caught any of the PWHL games, but I think they're a lot better than a lot of people anticipated. The Women's Professional League, they're very, very good. I really hope to get up to a game soon. I wish I could have gone to the Minnesota the other day, but some good
13,500
hockey, dude. It's a lot better hockey than I think people realize. Yeah. It's exciting times, a couple of different professional leagues, but it's always been all the talent is on best, and I think that it's going right. Other exciting news, USA is the best. Go America. We won the World Juniors, which is pretty exciting. A whole lot of drama around that. Canada will tell you that it's not fair because Bedard wasn't there, but I mean, such is World Juniors. You're going to be missing, every country is going to be missing various players. That just is what it is. I don't think that I have anything else. Those are just some exciting things. The hockey world is just bonkers right now in relative. It's been pretty interesting.
Okay, well, good deal. I guess with that being said, I think we'll go ahead and close up shop here for the week. Thank you once again, everyone, for following. We apologize for those connection problems toward the end. We're going to blame the snow on that one. But thank you once again, everyone, for following and watching this week's episode of the Cluster Puck Podcast. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow the MHRT network so you can get notified when shows like the Cluster Puck Podcast go live. If you want to follow us, you can follow us at the Cluster Puck Avs on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, and then on Facebook at the Cluster Puck Podcast. With that being said, we hope you guys have an awesome week. Hopefully we come out of this 3-0. And as always, go Avs go. See ya. Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Simcoe's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast's racking up the flame out. So high, I might never come down, so what this